Well, I tell you, I got my flag out and I kind of tearing up there for the Guyanese flag. There was a flash in there, but well, first of all, congratulations. Thank you for joining us live on Facebook. You are at we're in the after party. We're in the Q&A session. You've just seen Carnival the film. Thank you so much for joining us for this part of this Encounters Film Festival. My name is Roger Griffith. I'm an author, creative producer, and lecturer at University of West England, Bristol. Don't forget, before we forget, I will give a reminder at the end to go to the Carnival page if you want to see that Carnival from real life next year when we get rid of this pernicious disease. Please go to the St Pauls Carnival website page and donate some more to keep all that going. I'm delighted with it. We've got the three of the guests from the stars of the show, plus the editor, writer, and sorry, not the writer, the producer and director, and it was written by one of our own as well, Jenny Davis. I saw a credit pop up there. So we're into the conversation. Please do tweet us at St Paul's Carnival, and also put some questions via Facebook, and the Encounters team will send it through. So I'm going to start with you, Stuart, first, just address the film, because it's something that is part of carnival heritage. As a London boy from Notting Hill, coming to Bristol and seeing this different kind of carnival, more of the street festival, the close, and you've managed to capture some of those things there in terms of what it is for me is that when you go to carnival, you see someone from the past, but you may have the future still, and those tangs there. That was very evocative, and I felt the kind of pangs from Nadia, and I'm going to ask her about that a bit later. But Stuart, what's your kind of motivation and for this? If you can just start us off with that, please. If you could just unmute.
Oh, I unmuted. Can you hear me? Hello? Yeah. I wanted to make a short film in a real life event, and I remember going to the carnival many years ago and just loved it. The bombardment of sound, everywhere you looked was a different view. It was a crazy experience, but also very uplifting, and I just wanted to set a film in a location. So I worked with a local writer, as you say, Jenny, and we came up with a scenario, and off we went, and I'm really proud of the achievement.
Great. So what were some of the difficulties in filming at a live event? Because it wasn't, they weren't actors like extras that you bus in. It was a real life event going on.
Well, it was, the location is obviously one of the stars of the film, but everywhere you set up your camera, and within 5 minutes the view had changed. People had come into the scene, another stall had happened, the carnival procession was starting, so we all had to act on our feet, and therefore we had to adapt the script as we went, adapt the storyline. Some things that we wanted in the script that were written we couldn't find, so we had to just adapt as we went, and I think that's what made the whole shoot very exciting. And it was exciting and very nerve-wracking, but we came away with a film, which is always a good thing.
That's excellent. Okay, I'm going to come back to you shortly. I'm going to get a few of the other members. Don't forget, we've got Dennis and Ed Browning, but I want to go to our female lead now in Nadia Williams, who played the excellent Rochelle in the film as the mother. And Nadia, how did you kind of receive this film? Because you're a baddie trying to turn good. So how was this for you?
I found it quite a challenge, and I like challenging roles, so it was a bit of a no-brainer for me. And especially once Stuart came to me and said that the script was written by Jenny Davis, again, that was a no-brainer. I've been in something she had written a few years ago, and I know what a wonderful writer she is. And once I heard that Rochelle was quite a complex character, again, I just sort of leapt at the chance, really, because there are no good or bad people in life, and it always excites me to see someone on screen that reflects the human beings that we actually know. People have challenges, people are multifaceted. So I really liked Rochelle, and I liked getting to know her.
Great, fantastic. We just having if you just speak up closer to the microphone, that'd be
Sure.
great. Thank you so much. So what's your experiences of Carnival over the years? What does Carnival mean to you?
Do you know what? My earliest memory of Carnival, I think I was about 6 years old, and I remember being in a park, and I don't know which park it is, and I just remember it was really, really loud. But it was myself, my younger sister at the time, and my older brother and my mum, and I just remember having a lot of fun and remembering that it was just a great day out. As I got older, I wasn't a regular attendee. I think I've got slight agoraphobia, to be honest with you. So it didn't really appeal to me to be in amongst the crowd. But I love the fact that we have a carnival, you know, in Bristol. I think it's so important. And the times that I have gone, I have loved it.
And what about working? They say you should work with children and animals. You had she was the star higher beneath that. You know, I'm not giving a spoiler away because people should have seen it, but where she stays there patiently with all that thumping bass line around that. What was because she's not here today with us? What's Carnvial like to kind of work with and give us a credit for a star in the future?
She was phenomenal. She really was, and I'm not just saying that in a patronizing way because she's a child. She was awesome, so patient, so professional, so lovely, and very talented. She made me step up my game, to be honest with you. More than one occasion. Yeah, she was great, and I'd love to work with her again.
That's great. Stuart, where did you find her?
We found her through a casting agent. We looked at a few, girls, and she came through and was the best one. And she was amazing. She was very cool, very calculated. Because as we know, and St Pauls Carnival, as I say, changes so rapidly. And she didn't arrive because she had a school play or something, but she didn't arrive till 3 p.m. So suddenly, I think the football was on or something that day, and everyone was coming out of the pubs about 5. So we had to rush to get her scenes done. Luckily, her family were there to support her. But yeah, she was fantastic. She was really good. I couldn't have wished for more with her. Well, with all the crew and with all the cast, they were all amazing because it was a very difficult environment to work in.
Yes.
I think we all came away with that, and it was difficult, challenging, but I think that's what makes the film so special.
Absolutely. I'm going to come to a grandfather in a moment, but Nadia, you said about there's no good and bad, but I'm sorry, there was a villain in the piece. There was this Darth Vader a character, the bad man himself, Ed Browning. Welcome, Ed. What were your feelings in playing this character?
I've got to be honest, I was quite hesitant when I first read the script and Stuart approached me, because I'm not that guy. And obviously, as an actor, you like to do things that are challenging, but they also have to be believable. And I wasn't sure that I could come across that, but I talked to Stuart, and he convinced me that it would be worth having a go at. And I think it would be easy to look at that character as quite two-dimensional. He's not a nice person, and he makes very bad decisions and has obviously made bad decisions, and he continues to make them. But I kind of actually enjoyed the irresponsibility of it.
It's a chance to let loose. In fact, I love the implied nature of the script. It's a classic straight away when he's inviting him for a drink, but he hasn't got any money straight away. That just tells us so so much. Was that kind of you've spoken a little bit about the difficulties for you, but what about it within the filming live in the carnival and feeling the pulsating beat of carnival as this was going on?
It's an interesting double-edged sword because it presents technical difficulties, but the energy was so fantastic. Obviously, Darren represents the worst parts of carnival, the people that aren't there to celebrate culture, the people that aren't there to have a good time. They're there just to get drunk and do stupid things and just be kind of hedonistic. But the energy and the atmosphere actually really kind of gets into you. And I grew up in between Bristol and Bath, and I must confess I'd never been to Carnival. I grew up in a white middle class area, and it didn't really we didn't go.
So what's that like for you? Was it an assault on the senses to go there for the first time?
It really was. It
the
really
noise, the sounds, the smells.
It was exactly that. It was fantastic. It was an assault. It was colours and smells, and you go, oh, this is, you know, I feel really kind of excited and energized by the experience. And then having to play the character and bring the kind of dark undertones with it. But no, it really was a lot of fun, as well as it was technically difficult.
Excellent, wonderful. So I'm going to come now to our last cast member that we have today, and that's for a particular reason, because I feel that we know him on the stage in a different way as a performer, but he very much anchors this role, and there are a lot of kind of hidden depth to this role of the patriarch, the grandfather, to keep the family together, that's there to look after everyone. And that's very much, you know, with, you know, a stereotype that that is not portrayed in the media, but we know within our communities of grandparents being the rock and solid and solid black men. So Dallas, what was it like in terms of kind of your role, and what kind of signatures and similarities did you see in this life from the script when you saw it? You need to come off the mute.
I don't know if Dallas is gone, actually. Is he still there?
Is he still there now?
I think he might have gone.
This looks like it's very... Dallas, you with us, please? Give you a few seconds. It looks like a frozen screen. Dallas, are you with us, please?
I can't hear it now.
Okay, I'm going to repeat the question. Well, let's just talk about it from a perspective of the acting.
Oh, yeah.
Your first acting role. What was it like to play the role of grandfather? Are you with us, Dallas? Stuart, I'm going to come to you straight away while we get those. In terms of why did you choose Dallas as grandfather?
Well, I knew him on the music circuit, and I just thought he fitted the part. You know, I'd never met him before, and I just thought he looked the part, and what he brought to the role was fantastic.
Okay,
I think
is he there? Dallas, can you speak to us? Can you hear and speak to us? No problem. Stuart, do carry on, please.
Yeah, well, he just fitted the part really well. He looked the part. And what he brought to the film was that, you know, reality that I wanted. He was a character, and I love having local characters in my films. And he was just a sweet man. And what was amazing for me was he offered up some of his music for the film. And that's what really made the film happen too, was the fact I had that authentic soundtrack. And with short films, it's very difficult to get music, to use music. And the fact he offered it up, and I think they worked so well in the film, his reggae music. You know? Yes,
and it was great that you didn't typecast him into that role. We'd have got no, you know, we know him as Dallas, obviously, legendary reggae veteran and singer, and you know, and social activist across all those levels. But you didn't cast him in that role. You just cast him as the rock, as I said, the anchor of the story that he was, and also there's a brilliant line in there where he says, "I'm not going. Carnival isn't what it used to be." I thought that was a great touch, and that speaks to, again, the clash of new and old of what we continue to go forward.
Yeah, I mean, that's the different generation. I mean, Dallas was talking about that a lot, the fact that Carnival has changed for him. It's a different crowd that go there. It's become a much bigger event. But I think that's fantastic too, you know, that it's opening up to a wider audience. But it was just, you know, I think if people have never been to St Pauls Carnival, they've got to go. The bombardment of senses, you know, people are going there to reconnect, you know, families are meeting up, you know, and that's, I think, what also the themes of the film, you know, bring out very strongly.
Thank you. Nadia, I'm going to come to you next. And just in terms of Dallas' role, because we've got technical problems with getting his voice and his picture going. So just speak into a bit of that a role. Obviously, you come from as part of a community member, as a Afro-Caribbean, African background and heritage that walks with you. What about that kind of grandfatherly, patriarchal role? How did you both see it in terms of acting with it and your own personal experience to touch upon it?
My own personal experience, there was a lot of his character that resonated with me. My dad is from Jamaica. He's old school Jamaican as well. So I could relate to my father in the film, especially when he's giving me a cussing at the door. I can wholeheartedly relate to that.
Yeah.
So I didn't really need to perform in that moment. I've been there many times. I think it's really important to have those types of roles on screen. I was actually, it's a shame his Dallas's audio isn't working, because I was saying to him that I'd love to see him playing those types of characters a lot more. Like you, I'd known him as a singer, and I didn't realize that he actually had that other string to his bow. And I don't see a lot of characters like that on TV, and even in theatre. Maybe more so in London, but not in Bristol. And I just think it's incredibly important, because so many of us know those characters, we've lived with those characters, and so many people are those characters. And it would be a real shame to have, I guess, the younger generation not see these roles on screen.
Absolutely, it plays important roles, and we've got a few questions already coming in that reflects for that. We're going to go to that in about 5 minutes or so. But I just want to turn to Ed. You're local, but not local, as in not in the community by your own confession. You know, not been to Carnival, but you are local in terms of Bristol and Bath. You've acted in things like pole dark, for instance. How important is this to would we in Bristol, having Channel 4 coming to us now, to present these local stories that really that have the human interest, but also tell the story of Bristol and the region and our communities that are in there?
It's obviously massively important. It's great that the industry is still quite London centric, but there is so much more coming out of, especially, I mean, it's the West Country is where I was born and raised, and Bristol has a huge amount of to give culturally to the rest of the world, to the rest of the UK and to the rest of the world. Stories that need to be told, and it's obviously recently been in the news with them protests and the statues thing. That these are stories that can be told, and not just that, there are so many other things there as well. And if people can come and make stories here, or not make them, but find stories here as well, it's really good. And like I said, other shows that like you said, I was in Hold Up, and that was great for Cornwall, because that was telling stories from there, and it was using some local people and locations there, and then the same can be done with Bristol as well. Lots of different companies coming here and making really high quality content that's entertaining and informative and educational.
Great. And that brings us nicely, Stuart, to you before we go to some Q&A. In terms of that global appeal, includes that story and narrative. It has premiered as part of the Black Film Festival in Los Angeles just a month after I left, and thankfully pre-COVID. What's the kind of reception you're getting from America and the rest of the world, of course, about the film?
They're loving it. They're loving it. They're loving to see a different part of life, and I think for Bristol, what it's great, I mean, Bristol's got this very, well-known infrastructure in filmmaking, but it's really punching above its weight, this film, especially in America, unusually. It's showed at the Black Film Festival, and now it's been premiered at the San Francisco Black Film Festival. And there's another couple of film festivals it's been accepted in that I can't talk about at the moment, but that'll be on the cards in a week or two. And they've really taken it to heart, and I'm very proud that it's really punching out Bristol to the, and the St Pauls Carnival and the community to a wider audience. you know, because we're very slow sometimes in Bristol about pushing, you know, what we're proud of out to the world. And obviously the Colston statue got it out there on the news channels, but culturally as well, it's really nice that a film can get out there and promote Bristol.
Yes, most definitely, and that's what I liked about the film. It was the you know, the human interest story, and there's metaphors from old times with the relationship between Darren and Rochelle. Old times, and she was trying to turn a new leaf, but there was that temptation, another drink, and then we know what another drink would have led to as well. And there was also the echo, is that the father as well. Some lovely touches in there. But I don't want to say too much more. I want our audience to come into questions. I will come into towards the end to find out what you're doing next and where next for the film. If you're just joining us, just to repeat, or just join us halfway through, you are at the Encounters Film Festival. It's part of the St Pauls Carnival. Spirit Up, Staying at Home. This is our Q&A session. We've just screened the film live on Facebook. We're delighted to be bringing it back to Bristol. Don't forget that fundraiser as well to support the carnival. We've had Nadia Williams, who plays Rochelle. We've got Ed Browning, who plays Darren, and unfortunately we've had some technical problems with Grandfather, who is the great and legendary Dennis, and of course the editor and producer director, which is Stuart Napier, and our credits to our local lady in Jenny Davis. So let's go to the questions. Thanks to the technology, we are getting them in. Question, really interested in the relationships between a mother and daughter. It reminds us so much of the relationships of my nan and some of her children who didn't come to England with her. Find that quite an emotional theme. So we've kind of touched upon some of that. But Stuart, I just wonder if you can talk to us some of that. Is that something you see kind of reflected in kind of loss and belonging and some of the things that you wanted to echo in the film?
Yeah, and I think the film is all about. I wanted to do a film that was all about, you know, connections, you know, and finding yourself and you know, the fact that you've got to kind of overcome other problems to move on in your life. And, you know, I think that's one thing it does, you know. You can't you got to confront your past before you can move on to your future, I suppose we're trying to say. And it's great those themes are coming across. You know, I'm very happy about that.
Nadia, was there anything kind of that you wanted to echo in that mother and daughter relationship that has come in from the question, but that thing of an extended family? We're in the Windrush season now. It's 72 years since then, and we had parents who were reunited with their children, much like you are in the film. Did you see that echo in your performance?
Definitely. I think most people who have Caribbean heritage, they know that story. They know that story of their children being raised by family members and that whole sort of ethos of it takes a village to raise a child. So I definitely felt that. And also for me, I had to kind of understand for Rochelle what would lead her to not actually be raising her own child, because they're both in this country. And that was really interesting for me as well, because that happens a lot. Unfortunately, there are times when people are not able to have their children live with them for a multitude of reasons. So that just got me to understand Rochelle on a deeper level that wasn't necessarily implied within the script.
So you had to do some deep diving and really kind of unpick what was it in the script and find out the motivations of Rochelle and how she came into this place, being without her daughter on Carnival Day and just arriving on her father's doorstep. So did you catch that, Rochelle?
Sorry. Why was that? Oh, you want me to reveal?
What? Where did you get the motivations? What did you do? What did you do to find out? Did you read? Did you ask family members? Where did it come from?
I have quite a vivid imagination. It's a bit too vivid. I think it comes from watching 18 certificate films when I was really young. But I did do a little bit of research. Stuart and I spoke about some of the possible reasons as to why Rochelle has gone down the particular path she has. And for us, you know, we decided upon things such as mental health issues, and obviously she'd been in an abusive relationship as well. And those are not situations that I have to necessarily do a lot of research into, unfortunately, because either I've experienced it myself or I know people that have.
Okay. And I'm going to come to you shortly. Get ready for questions. Dallas, I'm going to try you again on this link. Are you with us now? Because we really need you as part of this. Can you hear us?
I can see him.
Huh?
I can see him.
We can see him, but we can't hear him at the moment.
Connecting to audio. There you go.
Ed, I'm just going to come to you.
You might be ready. You might be ready,
yeah,
Roger.
You'll be ready.
Yes. Dallas, are you with us?
Huh.
It just needs to unmute.
Yeah.
Off my thing, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, hey.
Wonderful.
Back in, man.
As always, we love to hear your voice, and never has it been more welcome than that. So we're now joined. Thank you, and thank you for being patient with us on Facebook. You know the problems of technology. We're all in different places. We love to be in a great studio on the waterfront doing this live, but unfortunately we have with us Dallas, who plays grandfather. And Dallas, I asked you earlier, I'm going to repeat the question again. We'll start off with what were the challenges as your first acting role?
That wasn't my first acting role, you know. I've been to drama school, performing arts, and I played Othello.
You played Othello? Yeah,
I played Othello at the Fringe Festival in Edinburgh, Scotland. And
right.
I've done,
how long ago was this?
A few years back. You know, and I've also done the Bacchae as well, which is a Greek tragedy.
Yes, fantastic. When I meant first, I meant your first film screen role, and we're all used to you being the the great performer that you are and commanding the stage. Last time I saw you, you were rocking it at Bristol Old Vic for us and doing our fundraiser for Dreamer Radio. So really appreciate you being still a part of community. And whenever we call you, you're always there. But this was a different role for you, and how personal was it playing the role of grandfather? What were the parallels in your own personal life and testimony that you had from the role and playing it?
Well, I've got grandchildren, and when I was given the script, I mean, it's like how you would, I had to play it how I would work with my grandkids, I didn't, right. I only met the, hey, what's her name? Her name is funny, Hannah.
Yes.
Hannah.
Yeah, I only met her on set. So we never had no long practicing and so forth. And I thought she was brilliant,
Yes,
so,
she certainly was.
Because I've done acting before, it wasn't that hard for me to do it because I had the experience and being a singer as well, a performer. But I thought the little girl, I thought she was brilliant because we only just met on the set,
Yes, and we spoke about that earlier with Nadia. I want to come to just thinking about the role of black men, which you have always championed. But in this particular portrayal, that's why I came to you last, because you are the rock and the anchor, and you play that role as grandfather and being that very much the patriarch, which comes from our West Indian backgrounds. And then Nadia has mentioned about her father. I reminded me of my father as well. I wonder if you could speak to you know, your personal experience of growing up and your the black elders that would have helped you, not just your father, but your grandparents, your uncles, and speak to our audience on Facebook about what that experience is like from a West Indian perspective.
I mean, I was brought up in Jamaica, right? I came to England when I was about 9. So I grew up with my grandmother, yeah? And grandmother, right, and grandparents, they tend to play a very great role in a small child's life, you know? Because a lot of the things that I learned from my grandmother, I still maintain them up until this day, you know? So I draw back, like, when I used to be with my grandfather, how my grandfather would react to me, like, you know, and so forth. So, and coming back from Jamaica, it's a wee bit different from over here, but I believe it's not too far different, you know, because a lot of children is grown up by their grandparents as well, you know, and I think it helps to ground them. But I think most of the parents in this country, a lot of them is very young, grandparents, you know, compared to when I was back home growing up. Our grandparents was much older, you know. So that's it, like, you know.
Okay, I will come back to you very shortly. I want to come to you, Ed. There's a couple of questions for you, and you mentioned about just adapting you know, to Carnival for the first time. What other challenges were there from being at Carnival? And this is from Sasha Reynolds on Facebook, as she also says, Stuart, she loves the colours in the setting. But to you, Ed, you know, what other challenges were there filming almost live, really? You had a live moving set, wasn't there? And you only had one day, you know, it's not like we'll come back tomorrow. It's one day.
It was, I mean, one of the biggest challenges was the idea of everything moving around you. I'm so used to, as all actors are, the people around you being blocked into where they're going. People are going to walk past you here, then someone's going to come across here, and you know, and every time you do that take, that's what's going to happen. But obviously that's completely different. And we had such a small shooting unit that there was a point where I had to go away and look in from a distance and blow the whistle or whatever. I had to be given cues and then go and then just go, right, is this what we're going to do? Okay, I'll walk through these people, and then if we have to shoot it again, those people aren't there anymore. And you have to react in a different way and find a way to maintain your own consistency, so that when Stuart edits it, it's not all over the place, but with the inconsistency of the world around you.
What Eddie's saying,
and it was really loud. That was the other thing. It's
Did you have earplugs?
No.
Good. He's proper.
I was uninitiated.
Proper he is.
Hands up to the sound man. He did an amazing job.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And the whole crew were amazing, Ed, weren't they?
They were.
Pretty well.
Yeah, really. There's a great sense of when you just trust a technician when you meet them, and I knew that, you know, the sound guy knew what he was doing, and the director of photography, she knew what she was doing as well. It was
Okay.
an instant kind of community of trust, just to get this done and get it as good as we can make it.
You reckon? This is from a question from Simon Green to you, and come to Stuart about those sound problems, issues that you may or may not have had, the challenges of that shortly. But Simon Green on Facebook has said, do you think you'd be a regular festival goer now?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to going back. So, you know, as long as I avoid the Darrens, that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to make sure I hook up with the you know, spend time with the Rochelles and avoid the Darrens, and then have a good and the Dallases and have a good carnival.
Sure, I don't know. I mean, this must be Darren's twin, because this is a different guy here. He's a proper bad man in the film. I really got a sense of that. So you've done brilliantly in the casting. I just wonder if you were just talking about the sound challenges that you have. Just what about how you managed to marshal that team and do it for us, and for those that are technical and non-technical, please. Well,
we were working in a small team. Normally in a drama you'd have more people. We had a camera, we had a sound man, we had assistant camera, and then we had an assistant to myself. And it was a very small team, and we just had to act on our feet all the time. Things changed all the time. The sound was a problem, so we had to move maybe 10 meters this way. So we couldn't always pick our shots. We found our shot and we just shot it until I felt like we'd had a performance and we had something we could cut together, which was very exciting. I mean, a lot of my background is documentary, and I think having that documentary background helped a lot, because I knew when I had enough to move on, and I knew when the performance was a good performance to move on. We didn't waste time. We couldn't afford to waste time. All that scene with food and the food stalls, we just had to get permission and film. So it was all thinking on your feet, and that's why you got to adapt the story as you go, which is very exciting, but also a bit nerve-wracking.
It was funny because when we met and discussed some of the early stuff, you said about documentarian, and I couldn't really envisage what you were going to produce. But excellent job on that. We'll come to some questions that are on there. I want to go to Nadia as well about the challenges of with filming basically against the moving canvas behind you that can't say cut and then can you do that again? How did you respond to that?
It kept me on my toes. Which I like. I do like. I'm not one for playing it safe. Yeah, so it did stretch me, and I didn't expect to be stretched in that way. So it was a welcome surprise, because as Stuart has already said, there were so many challenges going on. And then you're working with a child, so you would expect them to be, tired or fed up or quite petulant, and she wasn't. So yeah, we just had to think on our feet and just get the job done, which I think we did.
Right, great. Okay, going to move to some of the questions. Another one for you, Ed, in terms of, do you think you're going to be a regular carnival goer now?
Yeah, if I can, yeah. Obviously, we're all stuck inside at the moment, but yeah, looking forward to being able to get out and experience. Because, like I said, I didn't go when I was growing up. And I think it's really important part of the community that I'm not engaged with, to go and enjoy myself and celebrate it and educate myself, because that's the most important thing that I can do as an artist and as a person at the moment, is engage with things like St Pauls Carnival.
Okay, and that was from Simon LeGreen on Facebook. Dallas, I don't know if you're back with us. Are you?
Yeah.
Can you hear us now? Sorry for these technical problems for those listening on Facebook. We do want to, obviously, to hear Dallas's voice. Dallas, are you with us? Yeah, we just need to him and.
Yeah, I can hear you. You now.
Yes. Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear. Dallas, in the film, you mentioned Carnival isn't what it used to be. Do you feel the same way? Are you still a carnival goer and performer?
No, because for a lot of people, right? It's not what it used to be, Because I remember in the early days, right? The old family used to come to the carnival, right? But now now a lot of the elder people doesn't come out. I'm not talking about the too much elders, But a lot of the people who would come out and enjoy themselves, they don't come no more. I think they reckon that a lot of it has changed. Yeah, I think a lot to do with the music. Right.
But do you not think that things do have a natural cycle? We can't keep doing the same things. And we did have I was part of the procession with the bus dancing along up on Ashley and Grosvenor Road. There is a place for earlier on, and we get new communities and new families that are coming out to Carnival?
Yes, I do understand that things do have to move on, right? But it's not everyone who understands that things move on. It doesn't stay the same as it was before. So a lot of new families are now, because I mean it's bigger than what it was before.
Absolutely.
And the feedback from it, I mean, from the last carnival, it was pretty good. I mean, people were talking, they enjoy themselves, you know. But I think what happened, right? People don't quite understand that things can't stay in the old format that it was before, and things moves on as it gets bigger, progress on.
And did you play on the main stage this year, last year?
Well, I did. I played with the reggae orchestra.
Right. How was that? How was that? What was the experience like?
That was fine. I was looking forward to do my set on the main stage, but at the last minute, I was told that to go round by that place round by town.
Right. Portland Square.
Round by town, like
yeah,
you go. Yeah, that's round there. Yeah, and so a lot of my fans they couldn't find me.
I see.
You know, and I came down. I think I came down with BCFM. I think that was on stage there. You know, and I like.
Yeah, that's you're talking Portland Square and Circa Media. So I just wanted to just quickly, because we got about 5 minutes left. I want to stay with you, Dallas, because what this inadvertently has brought back, and I know we've had talked to the team and Toy McAllister, the Carnival director, who's done brilliantly to get everything back. But what this has echoed in terms of having this film as part of this, and all the events that have been before, and poetry readings, and you know, teaming up with the GMA and BCFM, as you mentioned, and BBC, got a lot of fringe events, which is what we used to have with St Paul's Carnival. And you're, you know, don't mind me saying so, Dallas, you are the veteran. You've got all that experience. How important is bringing the film events, not just the Carnival on the day, having the film screenings like this, the poetry, the sports days? How important is bringing that sense of community back together? I just wonder if you can speak to our Facebook, who are all over the world, wanted to know about these things.
Yeah, because it's very important, because it's gonna get people together.
Unfortunately, it looks like we've lost that. I will come back. I'm going to come to you quickly, Stuart, because Kirk Jones has asked me, would Stuart consider filming the drama at other live events to capture the same energy like a football match or music festival?
Definitely.
Get people to enjoy from wherever they come from.
We will come back to you, Dallas. Let me just hear from Stuart.
No, definitely. I mean, these live event shows, whether you film them live or film them at the actual event, I mean, you know, we had something in pre-production at the Balloon Festival before all the COVID thing picked up. I mean, I'd love to be able to do, you know, a series of films around Bristol events, you know, because I think, you know, it's a great, you know, backdrop to film any kind of drama.
Great stuff. So, Dallas, I'm going to come back to you about the importance of fringe. I just wonder if all the cast members can prepare their thoughts, their final thoughts. Going to ask them to do that. But Dallas, yeah, you've got some very important history and knowledge around the St Paul's Carnival and its importance of the film events to bring in arts, culture, and sport. This continual 365, that we're not just here for Black History Month, we're not just here for Carnival, that we have a presence that needs to be given and a culture that needs to be shared and appreciated. And you were just touching upon how important that was. Please go ahead, Dallas. Now, looks like we're still having technical problems with Dallas's internet connection, unfortunately. Nadia, I'm gonna come to you to speak to the importance of the fringe events and the arts and culture. You've mentioned about your agoraphobia, so maybe the Carnival isn't for you because of those reasons. But what about the connections in using the art and culture and really that sense of heritage within the event?
Oh, it's so important and so valuable, and not just for the African Caribbean community, it's for everybody. And it's part of Bristol's history. It's part of the African Caribbean history within Britain. And, you know, even though I'm someone who, okay, I may not be at every single one, but as I said earlier, I love the fact that it happens and it needs to happen. And I feel I was quite surprised at how well received this film has been in terms of the fact that it's reached a festival in America. I didn't expect that, and I think that's a testament to how much people actually want to see these stories and see our culture on screen, and I think it's more important now than ever. So I'm very pleased and quite honoured to have been a part of this and to work with all you amazing people. And I'm just really happy about that.
Absolutely. And where next for you, Nadia, please?
Where next for me? I might go to the post box tomorrow, supermarket on Sunday. I mean, I don't know.
In terms of your acting and professional
I know.
career,
all quiet at the moment, but I think things are beginning to pick up now in terms of auditions and breakdowns being sent out. So we shall see.
Great stuff. Well, we wish you all the best. Please stay on just before the end, so we can all say goodbye together. But what your portrayal is, portrayal with a difference. We love that experience, and I really think you know I echo what you're saying. There's almost like a dam breaking for these stories that people who look like us, who sound like us, who've gone through our experiences, that echoes through those generations. So thank you for your wonderful portrayal, Nadia, and portraying Rochelle.
Thank you very much.
Ed, Nadia is speaking to you in terms of you know, sharing our experiences, not just for us, not just something that we put the circle the wagons around and just have our own festival. We open up our doors, or we open up our culture. We want to share this culture, and we've shared it with you. And you know, what are the things that you've learned that you're going to take away from into your future filming career? Sorry, but just Ed, if you could just unmute yourself, please. Thank you. Can you repeat that?
Sorry about that. Technology. Yeah, the most important thing that I have taken away from this is first of all being involved in it and going, this is fantastic. This is right here. This is something that I should have known. Should have been more involved in and more aware of since I was growing up. I think that's the beauty of this film, for instance, is that the African Caribbean community from Bristol can watch it and relate to it. It's a really honest story. It's the good side of Carnival. It's the bad things that happen because it's been corrupted and it's been perverted by people who don't understand it. And then there are people, if there are people who don't know about Carnival, can watch it and go, right, okay, well, I'm going to go and experience it. That looks amazing, and I'm going to try not to be part of anything that isn't a celebration of Bristolian culture, and that the Afro-Caribbean community engaging with the other communities in Bristol, and also all learning from each other. We can learn so much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. Stuart, going to come to you shortly. Just wonder if we can get a final comment from Dallas, if we've sorted out any of his technical issues. Dallas, are you still with us? Any closing remarks from you, Dallas, please? Dallas? No, we've still got his problem. Apologies on those on Facebook. You know, we are trying desperately to get one of our own onto the thing. Go ahead, Dallas. Can we have your closing remarks? Any final comments that you have about being involved and what we need to do next, and where you're performing next? Okay, sorry. I don't think we're going to get Dallas through. So Stuart, I'm going to leave you to the kind of final remarks before we get the cast to kind of wave goodbye with our whistles. Don't forget to go. Don't forget that the crowdfunder, go to stpaulscarnival.net. Donate. I'll repeat that again. But Stuart, where next for you? You were given a few hints about where this could go. Is it going to be a bigger film? You're going to keep it as a short? And your closing remarks in working with the great city that I know you love.
Well, I'm just so overwhelmed by the response to this film. And I think this screening has been a great opportunity to, to get the film and the St Pauls community to a wider audience, and hopefully to bring joy and positivity to, the community in St Pauls and Bristol in these challenging times. And I'm just going to keep pushing the film, like you have to, pushing it out there to different festivals and promoting Bristol and the Afro-Caribbean community to, hopefully, to the world. That's what I'm aiming to do. And I think this film, the more people that can see this film, as Ed said, but the more people will connect with Carnival, will go along there. And, if we can come together, we can move forward in very positive ways. And I think that's if that can happen to one or two people watching this film, great. Let's, get it out there.
Fantastic. So that's great to hear that that's what you're going to be doing, pushing that out all the way. And we will going to continue with this Fringe Spirit Up, United at Home. Hashtag back up your carnival, hashtag Spirit Up. Tomorrow, don't forget, you've got the Carnival Mass Making with Helen Davenport. Gima Radio takeover on Saturday, an all-day carnival takeover. Look on their airways, www.gmaradio.com for that. Couple and Who with Ferdinand, storytelling and drumming in World Carnival on Sunday. Better exercise, Carnival's on a workout exercise on Monday. And then all next week, we've got another film screening with Black Southwest Network and Cables and Cameras. We've got Carnival headdress making as well. I'll be interviewing Professor Olivia Artele, Professor of Slavery, and looking at the links and origins and the significance of Carnival within that from the masters. I've seen it all around the world. I've been to Trinidad, I've been to Brazil and New Orleans. You can see all those remnants out of the plantation that inspired the Juve night. And trust me, you haven't been to a carnival unless you've been to Juve, the night of the damned. Indeed, Edson Burton will be leading on that with some Juve inspired films. And your booty based party, if you want all of that and more next year, go to stpaulscarnival.net. From the cast and everybody on Encounters, we want to thank you all for giving your time. Ed, Nadia, Dallas, sorry we had those technical problems, and thank Rich Warren as well as part of the Encounters team and all his team as well. Any final remarks that Stuart that you wanted to put through?
Well, I'd just like to say thanks again to the casting crew that made this possible, because I know, it's a very difficult thing making a film, and that day at Carnival was very challenging, but wow, what a film we've got coming out the other end. That's all I'd say. And thanks to the community that made it possible, because that was the thing, the community it was a great feeling when we were filming there. We didn't have it was just beautiful, really. I'm very happy, and we were helped any way we could. So thank you to the community.
Nadia and Ed, any final words, please?
I echo everything Stuart has just said.
Thank you.
Yeah, as do I. I've had a great time making it, and I'm really glad that it's come out as well as it has, and that people are enjoying it, engaging it, and it's doing well. It's great.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, don't forget, keep looking on the website on stpaulscarnival.net on behalf of Latoya McAllister, her fantastic board, and everybody who's volunteered a minute, an hour, a day, or the whole 365 years. Let's make sure this comes back next year. Stay safe, spirit up, stay at home, and give you a good carnival send-off. That's it for me, Roger Griffith. I'm signing out. Take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now. Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.